It's impossible to say that was that play if it wasn't, because he got a 95-mile-an-hour wrister in his face in the first period that nothing was talked about. So again,
again, the hit, like the
a good point.
Doesn't look egregious, right? And that's
correct.
that's the issue.
Yeah. So it's
my last thing on this one. If it wasn't Sam Bennett, let's say if it wasn't Bennett, it wasn't Kachuk, and let's say Marchand. Let's just say it's somebody on Florida that not everybody hates. Let's say it's one of their more popular players. Pick one, whoever. Do you think we're talking about it?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Clearing the Crease podcast, powered by BODOG. We are your line mates, Razor, Kami, Sabalski, and man, these playoffs have just been BANANAS. And where do we start? We're into round 2 now, down to 8 teams, and we've already started the action. And guys, like, I mean, we are coming off one of the greatest weekends in the history of Stanley Cup playoff hockey with what we saw with 2 remarkable Game 7 finishes. I mean, let me throw this to both of you guys. Have you ever been in anything that even comes close to either of those? Kami, let's start with you on this one. You've got a cup here. So, like, have you ever been in anything that kind of compares to that?
You know what? I was thinking about that. Just the one thing kind of comes to mind when I was in Carolina. We were playing New Jersey in the second round, and I think it was Game 2. New Jersey was heavy favorites because that was the year they won the last like 12 games of the regular season, swept the first round, and then they played us. I think we spanked them the first game. I'm pretty sure it was Game 2. They were up the whole game, and I want to say we ended up scoring. It wasn't 2, though. We were down 1. I think we were down significantly in the third, but we got it to a goal with a couple minutes left. And Eric Stahl, I think it was, ended up tying it with like, I don't think it was 1.6 seconds, but it was something like that. And then we ended up winning in overtime. So that's the only thing I could kind of compare it to. But yeah, I don't remember it being like 2 goals with a couple minutes left. That's for sure.
I'm trying to remember if you weren't in the lineup the night in 2004 when the Canucks tied it late and then Iggy.
Well, I was there.
Oh yeah.
Were you on the ice or?
No, on the ice might be put. If it was games 1, 2, or 3, I was in the press box.
No, it was Game 7. It was Game 7.
Oh yeah. No. Oh yeah, I was playing. Yeah. I was playing great.
Yeah.
I was on the power play that game. Somebody sent it to me. I was on the power play. I have no recollection. But yeah, I was playing. But that's another one too. Yeah, being on the other side of it, where Vancouver, we had Jovo on, and he was talking about it, right?
Yeah,
so he was right in the center of it, and I forgot his penalty. And then they tied it late. That was a total mess. But, then we ended up gelling it. We still had that power play, which Jovo, I totally forgot about all of that. I just knew he scored early. I didn't realize that he was in the penalty box.
Going wild. Razor, what about you, Razor? Any moment to
I mean, not like that. We did the same. We scored Game 4 in Montreal. We scored late, but again, not 1.6. It was 45, 50 seconds left with the goalie pulled, and then we won in double overtime. But to the point, like the question, that it happened 3 times in the history of hockey until this weekend, where a team came back from 2 goals down to win in Game 7. I mean, it's crazy where the league's at right now, where 2-goal leads just don't matter. Again, in 2004, Kami, if you had a 2-goal lead in 2004, forget it. You had no
game
chance.
Over.
Like Game 7 with, against Tampa, you had no chance to come back. You had 4 guys hanging off Iggy the rest of the game. You had guys getting slashed and hacked no power plays.
No.
And now we have these opportunities, and you can see the opportunity for more of it going forward. But And then it's just, of course, it's ironic, too, that it's Dallas and Winnipeg. The 2 teams of destiny in the first round are playing. Like, one of these teams is going to be really the team of destiny in another couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They both – go ahead.
No,
they both got some magic going is all I'm saying.
100%.
Yeah.
That's big time magic.
You need some of that.
You're leaning into that magic.
Yeah, 100%. Like, in my opinion, maybe there's been the odd year where a team has been like dominant. LA comes to mind when they lost like 2 games the whole way or something like that. But usually when somebody wins, there's usually, out of those 16 wins you need to get, there's usually a little handful there where you didn't deserve to win and you probably shouldn't have won, but you just somehow found a way.
I mean, you talked about that with that 04 run with the Flames, right? That went 7 games against Tampa. Like there was some, I mean, we just talked about one of them with game 7 against Vancouver in round 1, but then that Detroit series, like that had a whole lot of sprinkling of magic.
The Detroit series, we got 4 wins, and I've gone through it a little bit with Ken Holland when he's here. And I was like looking as good as he can at like the stats. And I'm pretty sure we, probably deserve. I don't want to use that. We deserve to win those games, but we were it was a shooting gallery. And it
shouldn't have won any of them.
No, not really. No.
It,
I mean, yeah, probably shouldn't have. And still, it just came up the other day. I was talking to somebody. We were watching hockey at the golf club. And somehow it came up. Brett Hedican was in town. That was it. And, he went on some great runs too in Vancouver and had a great career. He was my partner in Carolina and came up. And I'm like, hey, we won our 3rd and 4th game to win the series in 6. We won games 5 and 6 against Detroit, and we scored 1 regulation goal. We got 2 wins. It took him a second. He's like, wait, what? I'm like, 1 goal, 2 wins. He's like, wow. I'm like, yeah, Mika Kiprasov was good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what does that tell you right there? Right? Like 1 goal, 2 games.
1 goal, 1 regulation goal, and we got 1 in overtime to win the 2nd game. They got no goals in 2 games, which is crazy, even with the old rules.
Wow. Wild. Okay, let's dive into this here where we are presently as we record this. We've got 1 game in the books here in round number 2. The other series are getting ready to go here as we record this. We'll dive into those ones in a moment, but let's talk about what we've seen so far in the body of evidence between the Panthers and the Leafs. And boy, we got some talking points. Not that there's never not a talking point when it comes to talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, but the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, Sam Bennett, Anthony Stolarz. We got a whole lot of drama. I want to get a sense on how you guys view the Leafs come away with the win. They're up 1-0 in the series, but the real talking point is Sam Bennett, the collision with Stolarz in the paint. Stolarz stretchered out after the game, visibly vomiting on the bench, on the sidelines during a timeout. Give me a sense, like the league is not going to punish Sam Bennett. Do you agree with the call? Razor, I want to start with you on this one because you've covered a lot of Sam Bennett stuff over the years. So let's start here. Let's start with you on this one. Does the punishment, should there be punishment? How do you feel about this one?
There shouldn't in this case. They missed Sam last year, when he punched Brad in the face and does his punch hit. They've missed that a few times. This one wasn't it. So I'm surprised that I'm defending Sam Bennett at this point. Because he's very good at being intentionally unaware of where he is on the ice. His body control, his lack of body control is like nothing I've seen in the National Hockey League. And he still did it today, talking about why I was just going to the net. I didn't even know I got him. Well, you did know you got him. You extended that just enough, but it wasn't egregious to the point of suspension worthy in any way whatsoever. If we're suspending that, we're in big trouble. Probably could have called a goalie interference on the ice, but again, he's very good. They're very good at extending the arm where the referees can't see the extension until 3 replays later. So I'm really not putting it on the refs either. There's no suspension there. And in regards to the concussion part, Stolarz got whacked in the face with a wrister early in the game. He got hit there. Some other play could have happened out on the ice. You can't say that was directly because of that. And the fact that the league didn't get him with a spotter at any point also lends to the whole spotting thing. Like, that's not ideal how it's set up. So I'm sure there'll be some talk on that. But end of the day, no suspension's the right call. Hopefully Stolarz is okay. It doesn't seem like he'll be playing game 2. And Joe Woll will be the man.
Kami, how do you feel? Do you agree with this sentiment?
Yeah, I think mostly I do. I would kind of flip-flop on it. I saw some of the game, but I was at the bet gala. So like I was watching, but not really. At a sports book here. But I saw a bunch of the replays this morning. I will say my first off, I hope the kid's all right. And like you said, puking and the concussion stuff, hopefully he's fine. But I will say what my first reaction when I first saw it is that didn't look like much. Like,
yeah,
and then when I heard Berube's comment, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go watch this again. And it's still, you guys are right. That Bennett is very, very, if he kind of he's very good at hiding things, but like I was looking and maybe I was looking for a little more. Like to me, it didn't seem like like a Marc Messier elbow where, he's coming out and it's vicious. Then I listened to Sam Bennett talk. Now, you know what? Maybe he's an awesome actor. I don't know. I'm starting to think he might be. Yeah. But when you listen to him talk, like he legit sounds like, I'm literally just going to the net and, I'm good friends with him and I didn't mean to do, I had no thoughts of anything other than taking the puck to the net. So then I was kind of a little bit more, like, he sounds sincere, but maybe he's just actor. But I will say, after Ruby's comments, I thought I might have missed something and there was more there. And then when I watched it again, I'm like, man, it didn't seem egregious to me. But I know Leafs fans are pissed. I get the
comments, and then even the stretcher part of it and everything, that just built the drama of Toronto. Right? That's all the drama of Toronto, the after game stuff and trying to sway things one way or another. It just seems so obvious. And that's what makes this so crazy, that it's these guys. It's Marchand, it's Bennett, it's Tkachuk. We're going to get 2 weeks of this with this Toronto media. I mean, the Toronto media is going to want to strangle those three guys by the end of this series. It's going to be comical.
The crazy thing about Sam Bennett is, do you guys not remember the narrative surrounding Sam Bennett leading up to his draft more than 10 years ago?
Pull-ups and stuff.
Couldn't do any pull-ups, right? Like here was a guy who was kind of seen as kind of painted as a weakling. And now he has the reputation of being one of the nastiest players in the game, and a guy that if you're going into a battle on the ice, that's a guy you want on your side. And here we are. I'd say this, like, I think to what you guys are both saying, I want to agree for the most part, because I have watched that again and again and again. Like, I was on a flight when this game was going down. Wi-Fi was acting up on the plane. So I watched the game when I got home and went through it. And obviously with the narrative on social media, I wanted to really kind of dive in to see, okay, what are we looking at here? And the amount of replays, I wanted to watch it in real time. I've watched it in real time. And I think to the point that you make, Razor, like, it's not exactly a drive-by. It's kind of more of a slow-mo as he's kind of going by. Like, I don't look at that as an egregious hit. And so I want to say, I think there's nothing to see here in terms of a punishment, but at the same time, you have a guy who's got a reputation of being a repeat offender. You've got evidence of the goalie who is throwing up on the bench. He is being stretchered out. Now, I haven't seen the visuals of that, but like, this could really be a huge swing in the series if Stolarz is not able to go. And based on what we've seen here, the fact that he had to leave the game, you want to talk about spotters, and if we're talking about the potential of a head injury because all the evidence is pointing towards a concussion here, then, you could be looking at Stolarz being gone for at least a week. So how does that not a punishable offense then, if this is the end result of a guy who did have contact to the head, you're trying to get rid of headshots, and if a guy is ultimately out as a result of a headshot, like, how does the league not look at supplemental discipline on this then?
Player safety looks at the act, not the ending result. And that's they've said that forever. They've said that since the start of time, and that holds very true in this situation. Because again, you don't know where he got the concussion. It's impossible to say that was that play if it wasn't, because he got a 95-mile-an-hour wrister in his face in the first period that nothing was talked about. So again,
again, the hit, like
that's
the
a good
contact
point.
Doesn't look egregious, right? And that's
correct.
That's the issue.
Yeah. So it's
my last thing on this one. If
Yeah.
it wasn't Sam Bennett, let's say if it wasn't Bennett, it wasn't Tkachuk, and let's say Marchand. Let's just say it's somebody on Florida that not everybody hates. Let's say it's one of their more popular players. Pick one, whoever. Do you think we're talking about it?
No chance.
Probably not. Definitely not to the same degree. That's for sure.
No.
But yeah, I don't think it gets nearly
the Sam Bennett thing, right? That's
yeah. Online is Sam's. He's on
it's
fire on
great.
Twitter.
Okay. One last thought on this then. If Stolarz is out indefinitely, can the Leafs still win this series?
I still would pick Florida even if Stolarz was in this series. Florida didn't need that first game. The Leafs did, and they still made it close 5-4. Toronto's going to have to win in Florida for me to really believe in them. At this point, it's still Florida's series to lose from my point of view.
Kami?
You know what? I'm going to go with the Leafs.
Love
I
it.
think, I'm banking on this. Sooner or later, you would think this Florida team needs to get a little tired. They've been going to the finals. They played a lot of hockey. So I'm not real confident with the pick, but I think the Leafs are a different team. I'm going to take the Leafs this time.
Love it.
My prediction was that the Leafs, this is the year, based on our Stanley Cup predictions before the playoffs began. I thought the Panthers were way more banged up than they let on, and then they quickly walked through the Tampa Bay. I thought they were going to have nothing left out of that series. And man, the Panthers are proving me wrong. I'm going to own it. I'm still sticking with the Leafs, but do I feel confident about it right now? Oh, no. Moving on. Okay, 3 other series going on in round 2, and let's dive in. Let's dive into the Stars and the Jets. I mean, we just touched on the drama of what we saw both in Dallas and Winnipeg. They'll be talking about those moments for decades, for generations in terms of what we saw. Now to see if the magic is sustainable. Dallas minus 175 favorites going into this series. Who do you like in this one, guys? Kami?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm surprised it's minus 175, to be honest. I thought that was going to be more of a pick 'em, or maybe even the Jets favored. The Jets really, I'm happy for the Jets fan in the city of Winnipeg, but that was a tough couple minutes for me the other night. Both teams have some magic going on, but I'll make a slight business decision as well. I'm taking the Stars.
I've got the Stars too. I'm with Kami. Winnipeg didn't do enough for me to think that they're over the playoff stuff. Hellebuck especially, of course. I mean, it's easy to start there and go there. Even in Game 7, he gave up 3 goals on 29 shots in 5 periods. He didn't get a lot of work, and a couple of them were not ideal. He dodged a huge bullet getting out of that round. I think Dallas beating Colorado just makes them similar to how I felt about Florida coming out of Tampa, to your point, Seaball. The same way I feel about Dallas. You beat Colorado in 7 the way they did, with Mikko Rantanen getting 11 points, folks. 11 points in the last 3 games. Crazy. The Moose is now loose. It's hard to bet against those guys. Getting back Heiskanen and getting back Robertson at some point in this series, I like Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, to do that, that's the remarkable thing, right? And by the way, we should clarify, of course, the former Dallas Star great Andrew Raycroft.
Oh, the great, yeah.
Is going to take the Stars in this one, along with you, Kami. I agree with you guys. I mean, the fact that they got through the Colorado Avalanche, who looked like they were cooking going into the playoffs, and the fact that they did that without one of the best defensemen on the planet, Robertson, who has been their offensive horse for the last few years. I mean, it's hard not to like the Stars here on this one. And, until Connor Hellebuck has kind of shaken off that sort of road wonkiness, I think you got to lean towards the Stars. And that's probably why BODOG skews towards minus 175 for Dallas. But, oh, man, I'd love to see the Jets keep it going. Man, prove us all wrong on this one, Winnipeg.
Jets, Oilers.
That was
bad. Smythe division. As we talk about Connor McDavid and the Oilers.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that brings us to Edmonton here. Edmonton and Vegas getting ready to go. Look, I think Edmonton still had enough to get past the Kings, but without Ekholm in this series against Vegas, I mean, you're not running 4 defensemen with like the Kings did in this series, guys. There's a lot of depth, and I mean, Vegas got by without their big guns clicking until Game 4, and they still got past Minnesota here. Who do we like in this one? I got to lean towards Vegas without no Ekholm.
Yeah, well, Bodog's got it pick 'em, and that doesn't feel like that. I agree.
Yeah.
I think the home team, I think Vegas has the advantage looking at this. Of course, they don't have Connor McDavid and they don't have Leon Draisaitl. And you talk about a little magic, Edmonton has magic as well. Surviving, not getting swept is bananas. How Kings pucked that one up. The Oilers were able to find their way through. And again, they have the 2 best players on the planet. So we're going to see Stuart Skinner in this series. I think Stuart Skinner, like Connor Hellebuck, has a huge opportunity, got a huge break that the season didn't end for his team. He can come back and win a few games here in this series. But I would lean Vegas, and I hate picking against McDavid.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, Vegas to me didn't play great against Mini. Mini was better than I expected, better than most, except for you, Razor. You got on with the Kaprizov thing, but so Minnesota was better than I expected. But I didn't think Vegas played great in some of the games that I saw. They still got through. So I'm leaning Vegas as well. As much as I'd like to ride my don't puck it up boy, Evan Bouchard, he is still. I mean, hey, he might fire out 15 points this next round. Who knows?
100%. Boosh bombs
It's
everywhere.
tough to big time. Boosh bombs everywhere. I'm gonna go with Vegas, but I can't. I'm not like I said. It's that Oilers team. They have some magic. There's no doubt, and they can put the puck in the net with the best of them when they get it going. So I'll take Vegas, but I wouldn't bet my rented house on it.
Well, and that's why they've got it as a pick 'em here at BODOG for both the Oilers and the Golden Knights. And you look at how the Kings letting it get away. I mean, that clearly seems to have impacted the general manager with Rob Blake, who had been there after 8 seasons, is no longer in charge as general manager with the Kings. And as we record this, you got to wonder if Jim Hiller is not far behind on the exit door, having let that series get away when they were clearly in control. By the way, guys, first time since 2004, we've got 3 Canadian teams into round number 2 here. So it's been a minute. It has been a minute. The fourth and final series of round number 2, we go back to the East, and that is featuring the Washington Capitals, who took care of the Montreal Canadiens, and they go up against the Carolina Hurricanes. So these two teams have gone at it several times. Caps finally shaking off their first playoff series win since 2018. And here we go with these two teams. I'm going to stick with the Caps here, guys. I like the physicality. I mean, this is a team that has some physicality. I think Carolina can match them, but I'm going to lean towards the Caps in this one.
I'm sticking Caps too. My guess is Kami isn't, so I'm going to go Caps.
It's a good guess.
And the reason is because I'm impressed that I was concerned they were going to get caught sleeping after chasing Ovi, after hanging out. And I love the fact that they're a team that likes to drink beers and hang out. But I didn't know if they were going to get redialed. They did very clearly. I love their leadership. I love Tom Wilson. I love John Carlson. I love Ovi, of course. I think they're built for this now. And I think getting through the first round was all they needed to now really get into the grind of the playoffs. I think they're built for it. I like Wash.
I got to go with my Canes, although I will say they still the two things that have kind of always put me a little off, I guess, or makes me a little concerned is I really don't like that man-on-man defense they play, but Rod is a true believer, and in Rod I trust, so I don't love it. And their goaltending to me is still a question mark, but I'll roll with my Canes.
You go with the Canes. You look at Svechnikov, right? I mean, he had the 130-goal season, 4 or 5 years ago, and then he's kind of just this 20-goal scorer. Like, he kind of teases you early in his career that he'd be a guy that might flirt with 40 year in, year out, but then he comes in with just 20 year. It kind of leaves you wanting more, and then explodes against the Devils in round 1. So I wonder, is this guy going to turn into the new John Druce? Is he the new Chris Kontos? Is this the guy who's just going to go on a big run here and produce the way he had with 5 goals in round number 1? Or that's a guy, is he here to level up or not? Because I think if he is, that could be a huge game changer for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be motivated. I know it happened a decent amount of years ago when Ovechkin knocked him out, but
that's right.
A little motivation to end Ovi's season and one of his final years in the NHL, so to speak. So I think it's going to be tough. The Caps and the Jets are the two teams that I didn't think would be very good this year, and they've been great the entire time. Literally won their respective conferences. Yeah. But I'll roll with the Canes. I'll roll with the Canes this time.
And to think we were all ready to crown the Predators back in the summer, the Stanley Cup champions, right? How did that turn out? Hey, quick thought on the draft lottery before we wrap things up. Does everybody feel okay about the Islanders with the first overall selection? No cold frozen envelope. I just always wonder, how is it that over the last 6 years, we have a Tri-States team always constantly getting it? Rangers have had a pick, Devils get one. Now, of course, the Islanders, I don't think it's rigged, but man, it always feels convenient that these teams in the tri-state New York area, where the spotlight is the brightest for the National Hockey League, always seems to come up aces for these teams.
No, I like it. I mean, and the balls were good.
Of course you do. You're in the Northeast.
Boston dropped 2 spots as well as Philly. If anyone won this one, it was Utah, and it was again the Chicago and San Jose stay happy. So it's whatever. It's the draft lottery, and next year it'll be Gavin McKenna, and they'll be Vancouver will win it, and everyone will be up in arms for that one. So we'll see, but. Yeah, with we're going to talk about Sid here, and Sid was the one that was that felt the most of all times. That one with Berkey and Pittsburgh sitting there at the end, and we lost Lemieux and we have to save the franchise, and Sid goes to Pittsburgh. So that one was interesting.
Oh, I mean, the Brian Burke with one of the great lines when he was the general manager of the president of the Toronto Maple Leafs with Pittsburgh model my. Yeah, what a goddamn lottery. And that's the reality, right? With sometimes the luck of the game. And this is a year that you're always talking about 2026 with Gavin McKenna. Like, nobody's really talking about this 2025 draft class, right? In terms of good on the Islanders to have the first overall pick. It's nice to be able to have, but at the same time, I'm sure the Islanders would happily give up the first overall pick to take number 1 next year based on everything that we've seen from Gavin McKenna. All right, we're going to wrap this up. A quick thought on Marc-Andre Fleury, Sidney Crosby going to play at the World Championship. Sounds like Nate McKinnon's not far behind as well. So does Nate just sit there and heckle Sid and say, okay, look, man, like, you ain't winning in Pittsburgh. Come on.
Don't puck it up, Canada. You better win with these guys. Nate Dogg's going over to Stockholm. If Sid's going over to Stockholm, you better blow the doors off of everybody in this tournament, including the Swedes who have home ice advantage. Team Canada, World Championship, don't puck it up.
Yeah, Hockey Canada has been on a little bit of I know the Four Nations worked out, but, things haven't been all hunky-dory there with Hockey Canada for the last few years. Don't puck this up. All the boys are getting together. I'm sure they're going to have a blast over there. A little reminiscing, I'm sure, but obviously with those guys going over, that's going to be a lot of fun if you're on that team. But don't puck it up. Bring home the gold.
Could you just imagine if we get another moment like, Fleury at the World Juniors there that one year, they let it go against the U.S. and that bumps into Braden.
It has to be a fairy tale. It just does. It just for
what a nice story.
Sake, it has to be.
Yeah, what a way to retire too, right? Nice 3-week trip off to Sweden. Springtime could be worse. Razor, you played in Sweden, did you?
I did. Yeah, way up north, but I love, and Stockholm's as good as it gets if you're, with 20 guys. It could be fun.
And what's even better about, going over to Sweden is when somebody else is paying for it.
Of course.
In this case, Hockey Canada. So don't puck it up. And on that note, we'll bring this episode to a close. Thanks for joining us here on the latest edition of the Clearing the Crease podcast powered by BODOG.